Hello student, welcome in our 12th lecture. In the previous lecture, we have discussed the chapter number 2, that is the fundamentals of chromatographic methods of analysis. So now in the today's lecture, we will start our third chapter, that is gas chromatography. So the content of the today's lecture is, in this lecture we discuss the gas chromatography, then instrumentation of the gas chromatography, and different components are involved in this gas chromatography. So out of that different components, we only discuss two components in this today's lecture, that is carrier gas and sample injectors. Okay, then we will start our third chapter. The name of that chapter is gas chromatography. So first, what is the gas chromatography? This gas chromatography was developed in 1941 by Martin and Sung as a purely analytical method. This gas chromatography is a common type of chromatography for the separation and analyzing the components that can be vaporized without decomposition. It is the process of separating the components from the given curd sample by using a gaseous mobile phase. It is a technique where the components of the mixture in a gaseous state are separated as the sample passes over the stationary phase. That means in this gas chromatography, the sample must be present in the gaseous state. Okay, this technique where the components of the mixture in the gaseous state are separated as the sample passes over the stationary phase. Here, the stationary phases are liquid or solid and the mobile phases are always gases. Okay, so this is about the gas chromatography. Then this gas chromatography is having major two types. The first one is gas solid chromatography and the second one is gas liquid chromatography. So this gas solid chromatography means what? Here the mobile phase is a gas while the stationary phase is a solid. Okay, used for the separation of a low molecular gases like air components, H2S, CS2, CO2, rare gases, CO, and oxides of nitrogen that can be separated by using this gas solid chromatography. So you have to only remember that gas solid chromatography means gas is the mobile phase and solid is the stationary phase used in this gas solid chromatography. Okay, then the next is gas liquid chromatography. So similar that the mobile phase is gas while the stationary phase is liquid. Okay, retained on the surface as an inert solid by adsorption or the chemical bonding. Means that stationary phase is liquid, so it retained on the surface as an inert solid by the adsorption or the chemical bonding. Okay, so this is nothing but the gas liquid chromatography. So you have to remember these two major types of gas chromatographies. Then the important part of this topic is instrumentation of the gas chromatography. So here this is the block diagram for the gas chromatography. So in this block diagram we see the carrier gas, then the second one is the gas flow regulator. Here the sample is introduced, so it is also called the sample port. Okay, this is the column and this column is heated by this oven. Okay, and then after that whatever elution takes place, that is detected in the detector, the waste it is come from this side, and this detector analyze the data in the computer. Okay, so the first we see, this is the carrier gas, this is a gas tank. Okay, the top of this tank, the wall will be there, and when we will open the wall, then gas will flow forward. When we open this wall, the gas it is flow forward, and here the flow regulator is there, or we say that here the flow meter is there, So it controls the flow of the gas. Okay. Pressure of the gas will be 40 to 80. Then here the sample injector, the sample inlet is there. Sample inlet is there. There are three types of samples are there: solid, liquid and gas. So we know that for the gas chromatography, the sample it is in the gaseous form, right? So the liquid and the solid sample, when we introduce from this side, what happened due to this oven temperature, it get heated and it converted into the gas. Okay. And these gaseous samples are analyzed here, and finally it get detected in the detector and computer analyze all the data. Okay, this is the instrumentation of the gas chromatography. Then we move forward. There are different components are used for the gas chromatography. In that, the first one is a gas supply, then sample injector, column and detector. So in the previous slide here, the first component, that is the carrier gas, then sample injection, then column and detector. These are the four main component of this gas chromatography. So one by one we discuss this component. Gas supply, that means the carrier gas, and usually N2 or the helium gas are used. Then sample injectors, with the help of syringe or the septum, we can introduce the sample into the column. Then columns, the diameter and the height of the column. Then this is the diameter and height of the column. Tubing packed with the small uniform size and inert support coated with thin film of non-volatile liquid. So the column nature is like this. Then detector, these are the different detectors are used for the gas chromatography. So out of that we only discuss three detectors because these three detectors are in our syllabus. That's why we only discuss the three detectors. Then we start with the first, that is carrier gas. The mobile phase gas in a gas chromatography, it is nothing but the carrier gas. Whatever mobile phase we used in the gas chromatography, that is called the carrier gas. The carrier gas must be chemically inert. Commonly used gases include hydrogen, nitrogen, helium, argon, and carbon dioxide. The choice of this carrier gas is often depend upon the type of detector which is used. That means the choice of carrier gas, it is totally depend upon the which types of detectors are used. Okay. The first we see the hydrogen. Hydrogen, it is having a better thermal conductivity and low density. It is used in TCD and FID. This TCD and FID are the detectors, thermal conductivity detectors, and FID means flame ionizing detectors. So advantage of this hydrogen carrier gas is it react with unsaturated compound and inflammable and explosive. This is the disadvantage of this hydrogen used as a carrier gas. Then second one is a helium, excellent thermal conductivity, and it is expensive and it is used in the thermal conductivity detector. Then nitrogen, it reduces the sensitivity, it is very cheap. The choice of this carrier gas, it is often depend upon the type of detector which is used. The carrier gas system also contain a molecular fuse to remove the water and other impurities. So here, out of this carrier gas, the nitrogen and the helium gas are most commonly used for the gas chromatography. Okay. Then we move toward the next slide, that is the characteristics of the carrier gas. It should be chemically inert. It should be cheap and readily available. It should be high quality and not causes any fire accident. It should give a best possible results, and it should be suitable for the sample to be analyzed and for the detector. Okay, so these are the good characteristics for the carrier gas. Then the next gas component is sample injection system. The septum type injectors are the most commonly used. These are composed of a glass tube where the vaporization of the sample takes place. Okay, sample injection, for that we use the septum type of injector, and these are nothing but the closed glass tube where the vaporization of the sample takes place very easily. Okay, the sample is introduced into the injector through a self-sealing silicon rubber septum, and the carrier gas flow through the injector carrying a vaporized solute. The temperature of the injector should be adjusted so that the flash vaporization of all solute occurs. That means whatever sample is there introduced into the column, temperature is maintained so the vaporization of that sample takes place. If the temperature of the injector it is not high enough, that means at least it having 50 degree above the highest boiling component, band broadening will be takes place. If the temperature of the injector it is not very high enough, then the band broadening will takes place. So these are the different injector types: split injector, splitless injector, on column injector, programmable temperature vaporization injector, and head space injector. These injectors are included in our syllabus, so we will discuss one by one. So before that, the characteristics for the good injectors are the capable to quantitative accept a broad volatility range, low discrimination, then to handle the dirty and clean matrices, then with the dirty matrices reduce the sample cleanup and preserve the column, with the clean matrices boost the sensitivity with LVI technique, extremely inert, able to handle the polar active compounds and provide the optimum band shape. So out of that you have to remember the 5-6 good characteristics for the good injector. Okay, then we start with the first injector, that is a split injector, or we simply say that a split mode. In this case, this split vent is open. The part of the sample it is goes into this side. Okay, when we analyzing the high concentration or neat sample, means the split injectors are most commonly used when we analyze the high concentration or neat sample. Neat sample means the sample which is not dissolved in any solvent, directly used samples are called neat sample. Okay, then these split injectors used to avoid the overloading of the column. Due to this open split vent is open, so that it avoids the overloading of the column. Then it yields a sharpest peak if the split gas is properly mixed. This split vent it introduces N2 gas, so it is properly mixed into the sample and we get a sharpest peak. Okay, this is standard for the capillary column. Then in the splitless injectors, here only the difference is that the split vent is closed and most of the sample go into the column. Only the sample it is present in the column, it is not go into the split vent side. When analyzing, it is used when analyzing a low concentration or the dilute sample, while in the previous case we use high concentration and neat sample, right? And here it is used for analyzing the low concentration and the dilute sample. Plateless time of approximately 1 minute are typical, and it is also standard for the capillary column. Here split versus splitless. Only the difference is that here the split vent is open while here the split vent is closed. Again, one more is difference is that here the temperature is 300 to 350 degrees Celsius, and here the temperature is 200 to 300 degree Celsius. Okay. Then what are the advantages and disadvantages of the split injection? First, we see the advantages. It is simple to use, then rough design. That means the inner wall of that column, it is rough, rocky. Okay, so we say that it is a rough design. Narrow analyte band on the column, protect the column from involatile sample components, easy to automate. And disadvantages are it is not suitable for the ultra trace analysis, suffer from the discrimination, linear geometry detects the injector system, analytes susceptible to the thermal degradation. Then we see the splitless injection advantages and disadvantages. Simple to use, again rough design, then excellent for the trace analysis, and while split injections are not used for the trace analysis, but here the splitless injections are excellent for the trace analysis, less risk to analyte discrimination than the split mode, means it cannot judge between the sample. Discrimination means judging between the sample. Easy to automate. Disadvantage, need to careful optimize condition, risk of backflash, analyte susceptible to the thermal degradation. Okay, so these are the advantages and disadvantages. You have to remember this. Then the next injector, it is on column injector. Here the sample it is transferred as a liquid directly inside the column under the oven temperature control. Means in the instrumentation part we see that the sample is introduced. If the sample it is solid or liquid, it get heated into the oven and then it converted into the gas. So here the sample it is directly transferred as a liquid inside the column, and oven under the oven temperature control. The sample evaporation takes place inside the column. Due to that oven temperature, the sample evaporation takes place, and sample does not come in contact with any column external device. So other column external device not come in contact with the sample. No vaporization step at the temperature above that the column. Okay, so this is nothing but the on column injector. The next one is a programmable temperature vaporization injector. In short, we called it as PTV injectors. Okay. In the split and splitless injection, temperature can vary during the injection. Means in these two injectors, the temperature can vary. These injectors eliminate many of unwanted effects. That means that temperature vary condition, it is eliminated in this PTV injector, such as the distillation of the sample within the needle and large vapor clouds inside the injector chamber. Means these two conditions are happen in the split and splitless injection, so that minimize in this PTV injectors. Okay, distillation and large vapor cloud inside the injector chamber. In constant temperature mode, this PTV function like a split and splitless injector. Sample volumes are lower than when using split and splitless injector because the linear volume of PTV is smaller, right? The linear volume of that PTV it is smaller. That's why the sample volumes are lower than the split and splitless injection. It can be analyzed relatively dirty sample that cannot be analyzed using on column injector. Means the main advantage of this PTV is it analyze the dirty sample. Okay. Then the last it is the head space technique. Head space technique, I think we already performed the thermostat practical, right? Means polythene bottle practicals we have already performed. So similar principle is applied here. It involves the analysis of volatile component in a complex. and viscous mixture containing high proportion of non-volatile component. Here the perfume sample is there. So what happened? The volatile components are come in this side, and with the help of searing, these volatile components are taken into the searing and introduced into the column. Okay. For the quantitative analysis, the calibration of the volatile in the vapor is necessary. To reach this state of the sample is placed in the thermostat. When the equilibrium is achieved, a aliquot of the gas phase above the sample is rapidly transferred into the GC column. Okay, so here the volatile components are introduced, equilibrium is maintained, then we introduce the searing and we collect all the gas which is come here, and that gas we introduced into the column. All the devices that are commonly used for the gas sampling may be applied to the headspace analysis. Then this headspace analysis, it is most commonly used for the determination of residual volatile solvent in the pharmaceutical industries. Then it is also used for the blood alcohol analysis. It is also used for the determination of volatile hydrocarbons in the wastewater. So for that the headspace analysis is used. Okay. In the next lecture, we will discuss the remaining components of the gas chromatography. Okay, thank you.